It seems like the Subnautica 2 drama will not stop. Today, KRAFTON has broken their silence surrounding the whole situation of Subnautica 2. If you don't know what that drama is, I have already made 2 videos on that. One was about the leadership team being fired, which then led to a lot of drama about a $250 million bonus. Subnautica 2 is delayed. And today, KRAFTON isn't pulling many punches. Inevitable leadership change driven by project abandonment, despite holding 90% of earnouts for themselves. That is a insane thing for a publisher to release, but they may be telling the truth, so we have to hear them out. We wish to provide clarity on the recent leadership changes at Unknown Worlds, a creative studio under KRAFTON. We acquired Unknown Worlds fully committed to supporting Subnautica's future success. We collaborated closely with the studio's leadership, who were central to the creation of the original Subnautica, to foster the optimal environment for a successful Subnautica 2. Specifically, in addition to the initial $500 million purchase price, we allocated approximately 90% of the up to $250 million earnout compensation to the 3 former executives, with the expectation that they would demonstrate leadership and active involvement in the development of Subnautica 2. So right there, KRAFTON is confirming that the $250 million bonus that we were discussing yesterday was indeed real, but they're also setting up the fact that leadership didn't meet their expectations. However, regrettably, the former leadership abandoned the responsibilities entrusted to them. Subnautica 2 was originally planned for an early access launch in early 2024, but the timeline has since been significantly delayed. First off, wait a minute, we were supposed to get Subnautica 2 in 2024? Was I the only one not aware of this? I think nobody was aware of that. By the time Subnautica 2 now comes out for early access, it will be 2026, 2 years behind that date. Imagine how far more along we would be now in Subnautica 2's development. We would already be a year deep into development. What's even more crazy about this statement is that KRAFTON is not pulling their punches. They say KRAFTON made multiple requests to Charlie and Max to resume their roles as game director and technical director. In particular, following the failure of Moonbreaker, KRAFTON asked Charlie to devote himself to the development of Subnautica 2. However, instead of participating in the game development, he chose to focus on a personal film project. That's insane if that's true. He decided to work on a personal film project over fucking Subnautica 2? Is that real? That cannot be true. Like, that just cannot be true. If that is true, that is a level of asinine behavior I have never seen before. It's such a terrible thing to put your development team through, what you're supposed to be leading, but also it's a horrible thing for us fans because now we're left dealing with the fallout of your behavior. KRAFTON believes that the absence of core leadership has resulted in repeated confusion and direction and significant delays in the overall project schedule. The current early access version also falls short in terms of content volume. We are deeply disappointed by the former leadership's conduct. And above all, we feel a profound sense of betrayal by their failure to honor the trust placed in them by our fans. And I have to say, I honestly kind of agree with that sentiment. If all this is true, they have truly let us down. Because just the other day, a part of the other news story, Charlie was claiming that the game was ready for early access. And what does he mean by that? Was he just gonna release like a game that was honestly underbaked even for early access? Which is honestly unacceptable for Subnautica 2. Even though it is launching into early access, it is still a game that was massively, and I mean massively, successful with its previous title. So they definitely have the money to be able to deliver a more finished product. Hell, even a straight up finished product if they want to. Sometimes devs get too used to using the early access platform as a way to honestly push out a shitty product. Now don't misunderstand me, I'm not saying that Subnautica 2 was going to release in a terrible state, especially because throughout this whole video, you probably have been seeing gameplay of the latest footage of Subnautica 2, and from what I've seen of that, it is pretty impressive. Granted, it's mostly graphics and we're not seeing everything that's in the game, and what KRAFTON is claiming is that it lacks content even for an early access. To uphold our commitment to provide you with the best possible gaming experience, we have made the difficult yet necessary decision to change the executive leadership. Subnautica 2 has been and continues to be actively developed by a dedicated core team who shares genuine passion, accountability, and commitment to the game. We deeply respect their expertise and creativity and will continue to provide full and unwavering support, enabling them to focus solely on delivering the exceptional game you deserve. That's basically KRAFTON trying to temper down the flames that are currently going on, because if you look at Reddit, people are calling for boycotts left and fucking right. Compensation to the remaining dev team. But I would imagine it's not going to be $250 million worth of compensation. So let's quickly go over what KRAFTON is overall claiming here. Remember that KRAFTON is a publisher. They are going to have their own framing, so everything they say is not gospel, but they are framing the ex-leadership as having a massive financial incentive, making it extremely and bluntly clear that it wasn't a team-wide bonus by default. That executives abandoned Subnautica 2. Charlie and Max allegedly refused to step back into leadership after Moonbreaker failed. But it's even worse because they're claiming that Charlie wasn't focused on Subnautica 2 at all, instead on a personal film that KRAFTON repeatedly asked them to re-engage, to be back into the project. And they actually hinted at this in the original press release, saying that while KRAFTON sought to keep the Unknown Worlds co-founders and original creators of the Subnautica series involved in the game's development, the company wishes them well on their next endeavors. They also revealed that Subnautica 2 currently falls short in content, and in fact it was supposed to come out in 2024. They say that they feel betrayed, which is dramatic language aimed at the community trying to turn public sentiment against the old leadership, to let people know that they're not the boogeyman or some out-of-tune corpos who don't care about the actual game itself, which is probably still true to some extent. Adding on to the fact that they're trying to turn public sentiment, they are promising to reward current devs. My overall thoughts on this whole situation is that, man, I would just like to get back to looking forward to Subnautica 2 coming out and not all this drama. I think that the leadership team did get fired for honestly a good reason. If what KRAFTON is saying is true, that the devs were not taking the responsibility that they promised to uphold, I have no choice but to be disappointed in that behavior. But furthermore, I understand what KRAFTON is trying to do, but that doesn't mean that I can't still have my eyebrow raised at everything that KRAFTON does going forward, because at the end of the day they are no longer on the hook for the $250 million, and I guarantee you they did not see it worth giving these 2-3 people money for a half-baked product. They didn't want to give away $250 million, and I still think, and it's kind of proven, that that really was the core reason why KRAFTON made the decision to get rid of the leadership team, because while they were not doing their responsibilities, they also don't want to reward them for doing that with $250 million. There is no good guy in this, there's no bad guy, there's only, you know, victims in this, which is technically the dev team who, you know, has been let down by, honestly, KRAFTON and the old leadership team, but then also us fans have been let down drastically. We were supposed to have this game in 2024. But that's my overall thoughts on this. I will update you guys if anything else that is massive drops. Let me know what you think. Is this corporate spin from KRAFTON trying to save their public image? Are you mad at old leadership for allegedly abandoning Subnautica 2, like Charlie doing a personal film project? Or are you just confused? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you want to do me an extra favor. Please head over to my Twitch, link down in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. My name is CozmicSaber, and I'll talk to you later.